Hey guys, it's program now here. In this video, we are going to take an introduction at our newly Android IDE Android Studio. So now, let's get on with it. Now you must have Android Studio installed. If you're in Windows like me, you can just search for Android Studio. It'll come here. I have it in my taskbar, so I'm just gonna open it. So let it open. This, as you can see here, Android Studio takes up a lot of as you can see, Android Studio takes up a lot of CPU and memory. That is for a while because it uses Gradle to build its projects. So Android Studio might take a while. Your screen might not be as mine because of the update and mostly because you won't have any project built. So okay, so let Android Studio load. Okay, just a second. I'm just gonna go to file, let's say close project. So yes, this should be the screen. Ignore these things, this stuff, they are all my projects. Okay, so just say start a new Android Studio project. Just say intro. Click next. You can choose your company domain if you are in a company. Just say Rexon. You can choose any version, and it is that if I choose this, as you can see, by targeting API 25, each version has its own API. Your app will run on less than 1% of the devices. So it is recommended that you stay in the middle. If you go on Gingerbread, you won't have many features. But as you can see, on approximately 100% of the devices, nowadays everybody uses at least Gingerbread. So I recommend that you stick with 5.0. Sometimes you might go to Marshmallow or Nougat or something. Just go to 5.0. Next. Click next. Now you can choose an activity here. I usually don't recommend taking an inbuilt activity. Maybe you can take a Google Maps activity, or maybe to enhance your uh, look of the project you can use bottom navigation activity. But let's stick with empty activity, or maybe even basic activity, but it has an uh, fav floating action button, so we don't need that right now. So empty activity, call it main activity, anything. These both are required. Right now. Generate layout file, you obviously need a layout file. Then this backward compatibility, app compat. Now what does this do? The previous version, using screen sizes and all that, it just makes it compatible for lower versions too. Okay, so now as you can see, it's just gonna load up everything. Down, as you can see, executing tasks, app generate this, and here Gradle build running. What does Gradle do? Gradle runs the builds, or actually runs the projects. Now you might not have that though. You should now, you might get a screen like this too, like this. I have installed all the SDKs right now, but you have to install at least from 4.3 or 4.4, because you need SDK to run the devices on run the app on other devices. So download them. It'll take a lot of file. So just take a cup of coffee and enjoy. And then you also need to install one of these Android Virtual Device AVD. So just go here. I recommend taking like an Pixel or Nexus 5. I'm gonna take Pixel for now. I'm not gonna download it. I already have some. So then you need to download some images here. Uh, for me, I have already downloaded, so it's not required. But you can download images. I recommend downloading the latest, so it can support everything, every new feature. So just click next. Just rename it, for example, first AVD. Then you have already made this, so just choose your this image, system image, startup orientation, portrait obviously, graphics automated. This is it. Just you don't even need to see this. Just you can rename this. Now just say finish. It should create this virtual device. Right now I'm just gonna delete this because I already have two. That's it. Now you are ready for the Android Studio project you are gonna make. Now in the now I'm just going to give the introduction of Android Studio. Now here as you can see there is project structure, captures, etc. Captures when you are uploading to Google Play it will be useful. Build variants too, that is not useful now. Main is project here. Now what is this? In project you will have these sections. Normally we are only going to use Android or project itself. So here is the main. If you see here, I'm just gonna, or rather than that, I'm just gonna open this thing in the Explorer. Now as you can see, if you go here, it is the same thing as this. So project, if you want to add new files into that, is useful. Android is the most recommended one. It is completely organized. Res means resources, layouts, all your layouts or your values like strings or the names, colors, etc. So that is the resources part. Then Java, you won't be using these both. Just this is the main one. So it will contain one activity in Java. This I'm going to give you an introduction of Java later on, but just so that you can know about Android Studio. And then there is a manifest file. What is a manifest? Manifest is when you install an app in Google Play, it will ask you this this app requires this permissions. So that is because Google Play is reading from the manifest file. It will contain all your activities in here, like this. Right now there is main activity. It generates it on its own. You don't have to do all that manually. Then it says what its icon. Now if as you can see here it shows it. So this is what it look when you install it on a phone or something. You don't want that, you will change it later on. Then next, round icon, same thing, but some devices support round icons, so we can use this. And then app theme, that is the base theme. We won't be using this. And when we want special permissions, we just say lesson symbol uses permission. As you can see, there are loads of permissions here. We will be using many of them. So that is how you create permissions. Okay. So this is an XML file. I'll teach you about XML later on, and then that's it. But now maybe as you can, there are many things here, but they're all the core Android and core Java. What if you need help from some other library? You can add them in your Gradle file. For example, the format is compile, then single quotes, and the file name. Usually it'll be com.google or Android or something, or JSON or something. So and then after you finish writing it, just say sing now. You'll again do the build. Okay. So hello world is already there. So just sorry. So let's just run it on here. We'll show you all the virtual devices here. I'm just gonna choose Pixel API 25, the one which I use right now. As you can see, 99% of the CPU is being used because of Android Studio. Waymo system is the this virtual device. You don't have to worry about that. But if you want to save CPU, don't quit this because this is the virtual device. And then also there'll be OpenJDK platform binary, which is for Java. So as you can see, it runs exactly on here. Congratulations, you have got the basics of Android Studio. From the next Android Studio video lesson on, I'm going to teach you more about Java and XML. The Java is the main programming language in which we write the code in here in this main activity to make it functional, and XML is the programming language in which we edit this. For example, if I just I'll just teach you everything about later on, but if I just say this thing and just say text hello, as you can see, it has added on here. We mostly won't be using this text view, but it's important to know all the properties. The easiest way is the most easiest. Constraint layout is good, but for a beginner, I don't recommend it. So let's just change it to relative layout. Now, for example, you just want to view a text, you can just see. You don't have to work with position and all. Position will be handled by the Android Studio itself, designer group. And then the properties. Properties are here. You can see there are many properties here. We are going to learn about the major ones. So, okay, feel free to just play around with everything and all. And that's it. This is the basics of Android Studio. We are going to learn more about them later on. Okay, bye. Go on.